everybody. How we doing? How am I sounding here? You hear me all right? Good to see you. Who's naked? Who's naked, Gerald? Who's naked? Not me. How you doing? Good to see you. Am I coming through, folks? Whose birthday is it? Kathy who? Whose birthday? Let me get down to you. Sounds great. Awesome. Good to see everybody. Got my gear today. Look at me. I got my gray sweatshirt and my blue hat. Look at that. Good to see you all. And thank you, Rob, for that fabulous package. Let me get settled in here, folks. I gotta dial in. I just got off the road, and so I'm a little bit winded here, but good to be with you all. We've got an unbelievable show for you tonight. I think you're going to flip out. Some really good stuff happening, folks. I just can't say it enough that, I think we're in a really good place with everything that's happening. So happy to be here with you. For some reason, this is not cooperating. Working on a new chair right now. Welcome. Let me just get a shot of this. Okay, got my O2, got my oxygen. Cheers. Yeah, got a little story for you to start off tonight, and I got a couple things I want to tell you about before we kind of jump into things. Let me see where we're at. Wow, we're at 558. Please, for those of you who are on, please share this out. And let's get some more folks in the room. Share it to groups if you can on Facebook. Let me check on Facebook. Thank you guys. Hope Wally's better. And thank you guys, my brother. I called him today, but we connected on via text, but I haven't had a chance to connect with him yet. So let me get to this. Hold on. I don't want to have my donation button up the whole show, and I have yet to figure out. Hold on. There you go. Hold on. I got to do a few things. We got some very special guests on tonight, who have been on once before, and there we go. And they're going to tell some amazing transformation stories of what they've done. Stephanie, Dawn, and Rachel Balanset. And so I look forward to having them on here in a little bit. And I'll have to send them out a little note here, a little way to call in. I'm going to have, let's see, they're going to come on at about 8 o'clock. And so I'm going to have Todd and Cindy come on hopefully here about 7:30, if that works for you all, and for about a half an hour, and maybe call back in after they're off, because I think we're going to have some stuff going past their being on the show. So welcome one and all, and I look forward to telling you about my story today. First of all, cheers. Let's, if you're new here, welcome. You're among, right now, 558. It's the lowest number I've spoken to in probably a year, literally. And I don't even put my pants on for anything under 1,000. So that should tell you something. Just kidding. I'm wearing them. So, but at any rate, we're going to get the numbers back up here as we launch onto the other platforms, and I'm not worried about that. So please continue to share this out. If you're new here, imagine coming into a warm theater out of the cold night air, and you have a big heavy winter coat on, which represents all your preconceived notions, your unconscious bias, your ego, everything that has been basically taught to you up to this point. And as you take that off and check it at the coat check, know that it's safe and you can get it there after the show. Grab your claim ticket, grab your favorite drink, your favorite pet, your favorite person, your favorite your favorite snack, and come on in. And cheers, everybody. Happy Tuesday evening, Taco Tuesday. I didn't have tacos today, but a lot of Tuesdays I do. So I am. So I got to tell you a quick story, and then we'll get into some unbelievable news, and then we'll get into Todd and Cindy, and then Stephanie and Rachel. But before I do that, let me check in. Let me see who's here, and also let me do this. Hold on, and let me entertain you. Here I need to. I just did this. Could the low numbers be because the date is wrong? What date? What date are you talking about? The one that was put out by, let's see. Yeah, it's Truism Tuesday. I love that, Barbara. Truism Tuesday. Yeah, what date was wrong? Please let me know. I'm checking you out right now. And I need to do a guest. You see this? This is how it's going to look with two guests on. And I need to okay, I need to do that. So let me tell you what happened. All right, you know that I have a great deal of respect for Western medicine, yeah? You also know I have a great deal of disrespect for Western medicine. David, adjust title. It says Monday. What says Monday? I think I know. Hold on. Yeah, it might be because people think it's a rerun. Oh, I see. Damn it. Okay, I see. Thank you, guys. Please let everybody know it's live. It's not a rerun. I get thousands on my reruns, folks, but there's just not the excitement on the reruns, I think, for two reasons. One, because it's not current and people are looking for current information. And also because they want to, you all want to engage with each other. You guys all want to engage with each other, all the Snedheads. So grateful for you wanting to do that because you have made this a community. And so I think I'm updated now. We are live. I'm actually going to do this. Uh, 13. There. I'm going to change that because it still says Monday. Oh, hilarious. How am I doing? Let's see. There we go. All right. Update all. Okay. That should work on the fly there, folks. Good to see you. All right. So I want to why am I doing this? So I had a follow-up today for my chest, my pulmonary embolism, which I have a slight pulmonary embolism, and the obviously the blood clots in my legs. Without getting too personal, like I obviously I share a lot of personal stuff here, but the reason I share this is not so that you can know a bunch about me because I'm that interesting. No. The reason I'll share a story is because I think it has some value to you. This particular story, I think, will have a tremendous amount of value to you. I'm not on Facebook Live because we got kicked off, Tanya Joe, and so I'm under Paul Michaels on Facebook. Okay, um, Paul Michaels, and I should be live. There I am, Facebook. I'm live right there on Facebook, right there. Okay. Melanie Schultz, thank you for sharing that out. Rosie, thank you for sharing that out. And this is awesome. So I go for my checkout. Okay, so first off, so I got to get my records sent to from St. John's to this place, and that was really easy because so that was done. They were faxed. And so this place gets them. So I go in, and first of all, you got to check in. They got to take your temperature. He was about to shoot me in the temple, and I said, "Can you take it on here?" And he said, "Yes." And he took it there. Obviously, I wore a mask in. It's a health, thing. It's a health facility, and so people are obviously there. Their immunity might be down. So I either stay away from people or put a mask on. But I get in, and then I'll take it off if I'm away from people. So when I did that, and I go in and I register, I'm waiting for the doctor. So I go in, and first of all, they take me into this room, and she says the doctor's going, and I ask her if I could take it off because she's got a mask on and a shield. And she says, "No, we got to keep it on," or whatever. So I'm just catching breaths, and I'm like, "Do you have an oxygen mask?" No. So at any rate, so I say, "Can you, she said, "I'll talk to the doctor and see if you can go mask." And I said, "No, I'll take care of it. I'll talk to him and I'll keep it on until." So the doctor, she said, "The doctor's going to call you." And I said, "Really? The doctor's going to call me?" I said, "Okay." So the doctor calls me and starts talking about my history, the whole bit. He's just in the next room. And so we get through the whole thing, and then he says, "Okay, I'm gonna come in and do an examination or whatever." And so he comes in. He's got the shield. He's got the mask. But as soon as he opens the door, he sees I have mine off, but I'm putting it on as he comes in, out of respect for their rules and so forth. And so he says, "Oh, let's go into this other room." So he takes me into a fresh room with fresh air, right? He's even concerned about the air. So he does this examination, basically, which is not much, just to look at it and to, take a stethoscope and literally, with gloves on, literally do the same thing that they were doing about 100 years ago when they first invented the stethoscope, which is longer than 100 years ago, I think. So he does this test, this with me, and we're talking about it. And I said, so he said that they didn't fax the most recent stuff that I had. And he had 100 pages that they were supposed to fax from 2 visits to that hospital, 3. And I had asked them to do the most recent. So I said, "Do you have 100 pages there?" He says, "Yes." And I said, "Well, they're supposed to do that." So he didn't even have the new tests that they had just done. And so we basically talked about stuff, and he said, asked him, "Did you get the vaccine?" "Yes, he got one. He got one of the vaccines." And he says, and I says, "What do you think about it?" And he says, "Oh, I think you should get it, but maybe wait until you're out of the woods here with what's going on." And he says, "But get either, the Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, or Pfizer." He says, "They're very safe, this and that." I said, "Well, and by the way, this show tonight is brought to you by the word pause. Pause, right? So please share this out, guys. There's still only 558 people here. And so I said, Johnson & Johnson just paused the vaccines. He says, "Yeah, don't get Johnson & Johnson." This is right after he told me to get it. He says, "Moderna or Pfizer." And so I said, well, I won't be getting one, so don't worry about that. And so at any rate, long story short is I went and I got after our appointment, I went and I called the woman who faxed the stuff, and she says, well, I'll fax it again, but I did fax it. So I had them go and get it because I realized that he only had 50, because once I asked for the copy of it, there were only 50 pages out of 100. So he didn't even have the 100. So at any rate, so they sent it, and so I demanded to go back in and see him. Like I'm like, you guys made this mistake. This is, you should have seen that the pages started in 54. She said, no, it starts on 1. I said, that's the number of the fax page. You look at the bottom, which is so he wants to call me and have the conversation with me out in the waiting room. And I said, no, I want to see you. He says, okay, I'll have Jessica bring you in. So she brings me in. And then he calls me again. And I said, no, I want to see you. Come in, to talk about it, because he starts going over it right away. He says, no, we're in a pandemic here. And I said, you're vaccinated. You told me, why are you concerned about being with me? And because he's literally right outside the door, at his desk. And he says, why? I've only had one of the two. And I said, oh, okay, but we're masked. I don't have that much exposure to people and this and that. So he wants to have it over the phone. So he starts going in with my tests. And I said, time out. I said, can we start with an apology here? And he says, yes, I'm sorry for the misunderstanding. I said, well, it's not the misunderstanding that's the problem. I said, and he said, well, okay, I'm sorry. I said, all right, thank you for that. Let's continue, right? So we get through all the tests, the whole bit. And then at the end, I said, listen, are you aware, I want to ask you a few questions if I may? Sure. Are you aware of the bumping up of the numbers that they're coming up with these, with the CV? And he says, well, yeah, I heard that they were early on because of a money thing, but then they started fining them for that. So they're not doing it anymore. And I said, yes, but are you aware of how many they miscounted? He said, no. I said, they miscounted, as per the CDC, they miscounted 130,000. 130,000. And he says, oh, wow, okay. And I said, and are you aware that, the 5 states with the governors, I told him about that they account for 40%. And I said, so what are we at? 500, 400,000 dead? What's the number? He says, oh, I'm not sure. We'd have to look it up. I said, well, just say it's 400,000. I said, so 42% of those were in the people in the 5 states in the nursing homes that I just had explained to him what was going on. And, this is an MD, obviously. And so I said, so 400,000, 42%. So let's call it, I don't even know the numbers on that, but let's call it, because I think it might be 500,000. So let's say it's 42%. So that's 210,000 off that. All right. So now we're down to 290,000. And I said, and then there's 130,000 that they miscounted. Okay. So now we're down to 160,000 that are dead from CV. And he says, yes, but it's 10 times more deadly than the flu. And I said, no, it's not. I said, what happened to the flu deaths this year? Look what happened to the flu deaths. And the flu deaths were, and this is as per CDC, were a couple of thousand versus a year ago, they were 80,000. I said, so let's say that, 70,000 of those deaths could have been the flu, or maybe those were counted in 130, but those were other, as well. So we got the numbers down to where I said, do you see where this isn't anywhere near what they told us it was going to be, which was Imperial College funded by Gates, Johns Hopkins funded by Gates, and the University of Washington funded by Gates? I said, and all three of those were saying that there were going to be millions dead and the whole bit. And I said, so do you see why? And I said, in terms of the vaccine, I said, there's a 99.97% recovery rate. And so why are why all this hubbub about all this? Do you see how this has been manipulated? And he said, I can see that. He says, I appreciate this, and I appreciate you taking the time to tell me about this. I do have to run to my next because I'm backed up because of the error here with you, and so yeah. So he said, I appreciate you taking the time and the effort to tell me about this. And I said, well, you're very welcome. And I just, I say this to you because I know you took the one shot and you're going to go back and you're going to take the second. And I just would say, I said, you're recommending the Pfizer and the Moderna. I said, first of all, those haven't been tested for longevity, right? Because we haven't. He said, yeah, exactly. I said, and they're mRNA. That changes your DNA. I said, I don't know about you, but I don't want to change my DNA. Do you? And he was like, well, he didn't really have an answer. And that was when he kind of backed out of the whole thing. But I have a lot of respect for him because even though he made that mistake, he's obviously a smart man from a standpoint of being able to get through med school and do the things he does. And I'm sure he helps a lot of people. And, but he listened. I really felt like he listened. And honestly, I don't need to change anybody's mind about anything. I don't need to be giving advice that you must adhere to, or, if you don't listen to me, I'm going to not respect you. I just want you to listen to what I say if I'm engaged in a conversation or engaged in this conversation. That's really all I care about, is that you listen. And so thank you for listening. I thanked him for listening. We'll see what happens here. But honestly, I think it's very it's very good. But here's the thing that really, here's the other thing I wanted to share with you. I took him some supplements. I took him, the ginseng that a Snedehead has sent me, and a very intelligent Snedehead who's trying to get me into this fermented ginseng. So I've been taking that, and I got to reach out to you by the way, for that. I showed him some, what do you call it? The acid that I'm taking, the nitric acid that I'm taking. The nitric is it nitric acid or nitric oxide? I'm forgetting. But he's looking them up see if there's any contraindications with the medication I'm taking, which is a blood thinner, Eliquis. And I'm like, there's not going to be any contraindications. I said, because these are supplements. I also showed him my Purium amino acids, which is pure protein, which gives me energy, by the way. My energy has been much, much higher over the past couple of days because I've upped my amount of amino acids from Purium, which you're going to hear about tonight. And that is, by the way, I haven't been drinking coffee also for 3 days, and my energy's been higher than it has been in a long time because of the amino acids, I believe. So I'm showing him these things, and he's looking them up. He's like, listen, those haven't been FDA approved for treatment of anything. And I said to him, I said, well, I got to tell you, I wasn't able to get in to see you until today. And I was at the emergency room on March 20th. I said, I got to tell you, between, with Western medicine, when it's, hi, Mark, where are you? I'm there. I'm a new listener, watcher. Couldn't find you tonight. Mark, you found me, though, on Facebook here. So welcome. I'm glad to have you here. So at any rate, just to wrap this up, I said, I got to tell you, the Western medicine isn't really serving me right now, with the exception of the Eliquis, because with the lack of a good system, I tried to call back my doctor at the hospital. They said, well, he can't talk to you now because you've been referred to this next doctor. And I said, well, I can't see him for a couple of weeks. And they're like, well, he can't. So I said, for lack of a real solution on the Western medicine, you can see where I went to see an acupuncturist. I'm taking herbs. I'm doing these things because I can't, tap into the Western medicine like I should. So do you see where I'm looking elsewhere? He said, yeah, I see that. And I get that. So there's a real disconnect. And I mentioned the other night, being in Western medicine is they don't touch you, right? Like I showed him my leg and I was touching the spot that was where I had the blood clot. And it was still a little rough. He didn't even touch it. He didn't even touch me. And they're so blocked off from a connection with humanity. And this is what they're doing with you and I. They're making us afraid of each other, right? And the mainstream media and the Illuminati, their goal is to divide us, to make the whites afraid of the blacks, the Mexicans afraid of the blacks, the whites afraid of the Mexicans, the men afraid of the women, right? You've got people that aren't even asking somebody out on a date at work because they might get caught up in sexual harassment, or they might be called out for sexual harassment for simply asking a fellow worker out on a date. Okay, that's an example, right? And so now you're seeing less and less dating, which boils down to, quite honestly, if you look at the big picture like I have for the past 14 years, this is eugenics. When you make genders afraid of each other, okay, and you cause divide between them, then there's less interaction, there's less reproductive sex, and there's also less family because you've got them afraid of each other. Now you've got this whole gender situation of there's 11, 12 genders now. And so you have the gender confusion of young children growing up. You've already got our population on a decline. In terms of white America is what I'm talking about. And honestly, white people around the world. And so you have these divisions, right? You have, Muslims afraid of Jews, Jews afraid of Muslims, Muslims afraid of Christians, vice versa. You have nationality. You have, certain nationalities afraid of nationalities, Russians against, U.S., China against U.S. You have, you have the race, you have the gender, you have the nationality, you have the religion, right? You have all these mechanisms with which the cabal divides us. And now you don't even have to be a different color, a different race, a different religion, a different nationality. You just have to be another human. And now humans are afraid of each other. You've got people looking at me, literally walking along the street. I went to get the car washed after that, and I went to walk to get something to eat. And I'm walking along Venice Boulevard, and there's like two other people, and they're both masked up, walking alone and looking at me and avoiding me. Do you see what's happened here? Do you see how they've convinced humanity to be afraid of humanity? This is the greatest tragedy of the past year. is that you have humans that are afraid to interact with their fellow man. And nothing can be more tragic than that. And here's the other thing. You and I, we can bounce back from this. But our children, our grandchildren that are growing up in fear of that man or that woman, or don't even call them a man or woman because that might be offensive to them because they may not be either. I went to the bathroom at the facility, all gender restroom. All gender restroom. There's two genders, man and woman. And if you don't feel like you're either, God bless you. I love you. I have nothing but love for you. But I shouldn't be required to jump through hoops or tiptoe around situations because you might be offended at a restroom sign, by a restroom sign. Or you may not feel like you're represented in a kindergarten class when you are not only the smallest percentile of any group possibly represented. If you're a transgender, you're the smallest percentile possibly of any possible group ever, demanding that the rest of us kowtow and appeal to you. To me, that is backwards, and that's just wrong. And it doesn't make me want you to abide by what I think you should be or anything like that. No, I don't care about in terms of whatever you think you are and want to go, have at it. Just don't involve me in it on a daily basis. And that's what's happening. So the confusion, the separation, the divide has never been greater. But here's a divide that has happened that I think is absolutely fantastic. I'm not going to get to anything tonight. I will. I'm joking. Here's the divide that has happened in the past year that we can celebrate. How many of you have lost friends or family, hopefully temporarily? Some of you, I know it feels quite permanent with many people that you've, engaged with over the past year. Excuse me. But let me ask you this. Knowing now what you know about that person, and maybe it's a temporary divide, maybe it's a permanent divide, would you say that you're glad that you know? We've been stuck at 558 people for the past half hour, past 45 minutes. I don't know what's going on. We're definitely being screwed with. That's impossible. People drop out, people come on. It's absolutely impossible to still be at 558 people. It's absolutely impossible. We're being screwed with so badly. So we've got 1,000 on YouTube alone. And my eCam is telling me 558. Facebook's not showing. It's unbelievable. So YouTubers, please like and subscribe. Hit the like button. That helps us beat the censors. Okay. So aren't you glad that you know what you know about the people or the person that you are now estranged with? Aren't you glad that you are on this side and that you wish they were on this side with you, but they're not? And so there's the divide, there's the delineation. And quite honestly, it's common sense, you and I, common sense, looking outside the mainstream media, looking for alternative news like this broadcast, like Scott McKay, Kirsten W., Prepping 101, X22, and we know all these really, fabulous patriots, right, that are getting you information outside of the mainstream media. So we're over here, and the people that we're estranged from are still looking to CNN for what? For news? They're looking to CNN for news? I don't get it. I don't get it. And I know you don't either. So I'm going to show you this. Okay. And if you haven't seen this, please enjoy. This is, I'm going to show you here. Bear with me here. And here we go. I got to get rid of two things here. There we go. I'm just going to let you play. You don't need to see me. Okay, here we go.
I think we got him through this term. We would always show shots of him jogging, him in aviator shades, and like you paint him as a young geriatric.
We were creating a story there that we didn't know anything about. So that's I think that's propaganda.
Look what we did. We got Trump out. I am 100% going to say it, and I 100% believe it, that if it wasn't for CNN, I don't know that Trump would have got voted out.
Our focus was to get Trump out of office, right? Without saying it, that's what it was, right? So our next thing is going to be for climate change awareness.
Do you think it's going to be just like a lot of like fear, like climate?
Yeah, fear sells. Fear sells. No one ever says those things out loud, but it's obvious.
For years, we've heard that CNN is the most trusted name in news, but a CNN director is on tape telling us that they're propaganda, helping a certain political candidate, employees admitting what we've always known to be true.
Trump was, I don't know, like his hand was shaking or whatever like that. We brought in like so many medical people to like all tell a story that like it was all speculation. That he was like neurological damage, like that he was losing it, he's unfit to, whatever. We were creating a story there that we didn't know anything about. I think there's just like a COVID fatigue. So like whenever a new story comes up, they're going to latch onto it. They've already announced in our office that once the public will be open to it, we're going to start focusing mainly on climate. It's going to be our focus. Our focus was to get Trump out of office, right? Without saying it, that's what it was, right? So our next thing is going to be for climate change awareness.
Who decides that?
The head of the network,
Who's that? Is that Zucker?
Zucker, yeah.
Climate change is going to be the next COVID thing for CNN. We're gonna hone it.
Focus.
Our focus was to get Trump out of office, right? Without saying it, that's what it was.
And that's the question, Mr. Zucker. Why is it so important to hide the truth of what you're really trying to do?
Guys, thank God for James O'Keefe. James, please keep doing what you're doing, my friend. You are just crushing it, and in their own words. And I've said this before. There are two people in this industry that are flawless in terms of information that they're giving the population. And those two people are Julian Assange, okay, and James O'Keefe. And here's the thing that they both have in common, which is why they're flawless. I'm not saying flawless as human beings. I'm saying flawless as journalists, because they're both using the words and the writings and the actions of the people that they literally have on camera and have on paper. And so how can you be wrong if what you're showing the world is their own words? How can you say that CNN is not corrupt after watching this? This is the head of technical director. I mean, this is the guy that's in the room for almost every conversation and almost every decision that's made. Okay? All right. So and this this Mockingbird media, as I mentioned, is and I'll show you this. This is just a 49-second video here. And I mentioned to you that this show was brought to you by the word pause. And why is it brought to you by the word pause? Because, listen to this. Or don't listen. Hold on. It's just music. Let me start it over and I'll read it to you. Sorry, I don't know why this is doing this. Okay. The FDA and CDC have recommended a pause in the use of Johnson & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccine. The pause comes after 6 people developed rare and severe blood clots after taking the vaccine. That's why many of you were asking if I took it because of the blood clots. The condition has only been observed in patients with, I don't know how to say that. Hold on. Let me pull that back. Only observed in patients with thrombocytopenia or low levels of blood platelets. So there's a pre-existing situation here that they know they shouldn't use. 7 million people have safely received a dose of the J&J shot. We don't know that yet, that they've safely received it, because we don't know the long-term studies. We don't know what this is going to do to these people. And I'm not a medical professional, and I don't pretend to be. There are no reports of the reaction in the Pfizer or Moderna, but both of those are mRNA, which changes your DNA. CV19 response team coordinator says the pause won't have a significant impact on supply. He says there's enough supply of the Pfizer and Moderna to continue at the current pace of 3 million doses a day. All right. So there you have it. Let me see here. I need to.
An endangered Florida panther has died after being struck.
And so do you recognize pause though? There's a pause. Do you know how harmless pause sounds? Right? Yeah, and those have killed people, the others. Do you know how harmless pause is? Do you have any idea that was created by a PR firm for the company? I guarantee it. And that was given to the CDC to use. Okay? This is how this works. This is how they have indoctrinated humanity. So they're okay with a pause. But if you have to stop it, well, then there's something really wrong. But if you got to pause it, it's probably okay. Because a pause, they're going to continue. They're just pausing it. All right? This is very dangerous languaging, as you know. Yeah? This is very, very dangerous languaging. Okay, so this is what I was looking for. It was completely covered up. Okay, now, bear with me here, folks. Let's see. Todd Cindy, you want to call in real quick, and if you want to use Telegram, why don't we start with Telegram and see if we have any better luck with that? You couldn't call me, so just give me the thumbs up, and I'll call you. But I also have to check out something here, because I have to get an invitation to my 2 guests, and for some reason, so I might have to play around with this a little bit. So I'm I'm going to put the chat up here so you guys can see that. And then I've got to figure out what's going on here with my, I got to do it with you actually. So I'm going to do a 2-guest split. And, okay. And so how do I send, okay. There we go. So that's me. Hold on. This is unbelievable. And how the hell do I send the invite? Well, let me see if I can do this. Let me see if I can do an old one. All right, there you guys are. Awesome. What is that? Is this? Yeah. Okay. Where are you? Oh gosh. Oh, there you are. Okay. Hey, Cindy.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there. Hey,
Good.
It's Ada, don't you know?
What's that?
It's supposed to be Ada. Shh.
Oh, Ada Lightsnet. Of course.
Don't give it away.
How could I forget? How could I forget?
Come on, Paul.
So yeah. So we're incognito.
Yeah, trying to be. Right?
We need to jump into a few things. I just wanted to check in with you guys to see if you could talk for a few minutes now, and also possibly come in. I was going to just have the girls on for about 15 minutes. The ladies, I should say, with the hold on,
if you want to go ahead and go with them, that's cool too.
They won't come on till after 8, a little bit after 8. Okay, so I'm going to try something here and see if this brings me into the room. And I think it does. And if it does, then I've got this dialed in. Okay, yes, that'll work for my guess. Okay, awesome. All right, guys, sorry you're looking at a silhouette there. So I'm going to. What's that?
It's a great silhouette that we're looking at.
I know it's better than me. I should do it. And I could call the show Silhouette. So what's your take on stuff that's happening right now?
I think that everybody just needs to hold the line. As Scavino said, remember, we will not bend, we will not break. I posted it this morning on my page.
By the way, I saw that. I want to bring that up here, right here. So tell us about that, Cindy. I have it up right now.
Do you?
Yeah.
I can't see. We're on a delay, so.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's, we will not bend, we will not break, we will not yield, we will never give in, we will never give up, we will never back down, we will never, ever surrender. And then that's Scavino. I would like to add to that, digital warfare is not for the weak. We have to remember that, folks. Nobody said it was going to be easy. You know, no, it's not going to be on your time frame. And I see some frustration from everyone, but hey, this isn't going to be just because we want it to happen this week or this month or this year. You know, folks, my parents have been fighting this since back in the 70s, you know?
Yep.
So this isn't, you can't just come in and demand, hey, something has to happen or what else, you know?
Cindy, keep talking if you would, and you and Todd can as well. I got to take a little bathroom break here. Excuse me.
Okay. Well, I just want to encourage everyone to please just hold the line. I know it's frustrating. I'm getting the frustration from others too. I get that, but you have to stay firm. You've got to believe, hey, what we're seeing is a movie. We keep telling you this. You got to believe it. You got to know in the bottom of your toes, dig deep, that it's going to be hard. Nobody, you know, back in World War II, they were on a different type of a battlefield. We're on a digital battlefield. They're on a different one. But it doesn't mean that it's any, they had their own problems. We have our different types of problems, but they didn't give up. They stayed in the foxhole, as Todd says. So please just do not give up. I understand the frustration. I see some comments, but don't give up. That's my little take on this evening. What do you think, Tesla?
I think you did great, Ada.
Thanks, Tesla.
Yeah, it's important. I don't know if you guys do what I do. Every day that I see either Scavino or Pompeo, or back when President Trump was posting on Twitter, and even some of the Anon work, that I see out there, it's incredible what people are trying to do just to get the truth out, the hurdles that we face. I mean, look at what Dave goes through, just, trying to get his computer to work, trying to have a connection with us. It's impossible to think that in this day and age that's all coincidence, and that's all just, Dave doesn't know how to handle his computer, or Dave doesn't know how to get the show lit up. It's not that, folks. If you look at all the truthers on every platform, even Monkey Works was talking about it today. He was like, he didn't know what to do. He had to reboot everything so many times. He had stuff planned to put on his show, and it all disappeared. I did that just last night. As I was talking to Christy pre-show, just for the few minutes we have between work and the, from our jobs to the showtime, we try to just get a basic little outline of what we're going to talk about tonight or last night. And all of a sudden I'm staring at my computer, hands off, and half of my dive goes away. And you cannot tell me that is coincidence, and that's not, what we're up against. We're all up against this, we're on platforms that they control. It's not easy. So I'm just saying, please bear with us when we have technical problems, because it's not always our fault. And most of the time it's not. And I just say, just like Ada said, you got to stay in your foxhole. It's not easy. This has gone on longer than I thought it would, because I was seeing things this summer that were so obvious to any human that, Biden was fake. We can still go back over,
Yep.
I can give you 50 to 75 incidences of just absolute complete nonsense, fake Biden. And we forget this at times, and we get weak, and we look at the stuff that's in front of us. We look at vaccine passes now, all the things that they're putting pressure on, and we forget that the Patriots are really in control.
Yes. Hey, I'm back, brother. How you doing?
Good. I heard you breathing.
Well,
Good.
I used to say that's not a good thing, but now I say that's a good thing.
Yeah, not in the old-fashioned way of breathing on the telephone.
Yes, exactly. Dude, well, for that I charge $3.95 a minute. So, cha-ching.
I can't afford a minute right now, Dave.
Yeah.
What you doing, man? I mean, you sound like you're, I think you physically sound better. I thought last week, I was worried about you. The week before, I was just like, you seemed a little bit off, is all I'm going to say. Just not your tippy top. As a great American would say, tippy top shape.
Yeah, tippy top. I have not been in my tippy top shape. I'm not back yet, but I do feel like I'm on my way. So I feel better, and yet I'm still feeling like I'm in the woods. But grateful to be going through, this and coming out of it.
Well, and just like you were talking about your Western medicine talk previous, my God, if you knew what my brother went through, and you knew what my dad went through physically, and dealing with the healthcare system and all of the great things that they can do. I mean, and they're fantastic people. Most of them, are great people, and they are trying to do what, the right thing and help people and and uphold their Hippocratic oath. But there are things in this system that are so anti-success.
Yep.
And I don't know how many times we dealt with the same thing, Dave, with my dad when he was having heart problems. You would go to the hospital, you would tell your whole story. You would give him charts, that looked like, were as thick as the Bible, that had everything that ever happened to him.
Yep.
And then the next doctor that, one doctor would disappear, the next doctor comes on, and you have to explain for 45 minutes what the problem is. And then it goes on and on and on. You could have 3 or 4 different doctors that day that don't know what's going on, and you have to bring them all up to speed, and they all have different ideas of what to do. And you're right, the human contact, it almost seems like House. I mentioned that before. I don't think you watched House, MD.
No.
But
I saw it I saw it once or twice.
Yeah, he's a brilliant doctor. He gets all the cases that are unsolvable, and he has to try these different things, and they put their heads together. And, it's almost like a mini episode of House every time. It's starting over. And I just think they could simplify the process a little bit is all I'm saying.
Yes. Yes. I talked to, what I took in everything that I'm taking, and I showed the doctor. And one of the things I told him was I'm taking hydroxychloroquine.
Yep.
He was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
He wasn't like, and I told him, I said, listen, even if I did get it, I'd bump up my HCQ and it'd be gone in a day or two. Well, I don't know about that. It's like, well, why don't you look into it? And by the way, Todd, I'm glad you just brought that up, because there's a story here that I want to share with everybody that Beth just sent me. And hold on a second. Please continue along your thought here, and while I pull it up.
Well, yeah, I mean, modern medicine can do such miracles, and it seems like they're fumbling on the simple things is all I'm getting at. Patient care should start with patient communication, and what's wrong with keeping one doctor informed. And I understand they do shifts and they leave and they've got families and everything, but there should be some inter-hospital communication, dropping off one patient to the next through the doctors. It just doesn't make sense the way they do it right now.
Yeah.
And, and we were talking about HCQ, and, you cannot look at this whole thing and take out of the equation the fact that HCQ has been used for 70 years.
Yeah.
And it's been used as an anti-malarial in Africa, for just as long. And look at their cases, Dave. I mean, why can't somebody get through this mass media and this medication indoctrination and just say, when did HCQ become toxic when it's used by millions of people for 70 years?
So Todd, first of all, you and I are not doctors unless you finished that night class.
I'm as Joe Biden is.
Yeah, exactly. But we're not saying that HCQ can help with CV. We're sharing stories about MDs who are saying that. Here's an expert that says Fauci is responsible for hundreds of thousands of American deaths by blocking HCQ. Dr. Stephen Hatfill, infectious disease expert, says the medical bureaucracy blocked an effective treatment so they could push through experimental shots. He told Steve Bannon on the War Room, and is proven to be effective and costs roughly 60 cents per pill. And it's less than that if you're on insurance. However, the existence of a proven effective treatment would not have allowed Fauci and FDA's Janet Woodcock to expedite COVID shots. Okay? You don't need a jab, Dr. Hatfield says. Okay? It is quite evident that Dr. Fauci, Dr. Woodcock, and Dr. Rick Bright are responsible for hundreds of thousands of American deaths. And I'm going to pull her up here in a second. For causing this drug to pick up a bad name. Because bad news travels fast. And folks, you know, as soon as Trump started talking about HCQ, the mainstream media tried to bury it. And let me show Todd also how effective the mainstream media is. When Christy first, sent me a little link on the pause, which I had seen already, and I don't watch much mainstream media with the exception of homework for the broadcast. But this is how this looks. Remember, I mentioned that this is a PR term. This is a PR created term. And here you have all these different sites, all these different news outlets. Here's CNBC. FDA advises states to pause use of J&J COVID shot after blank. Here's Bloomberg. U.S. calls for pause of J&J shot on clots. Rollout. Here's AP. U.S. recommends pause in quotation marks for J&J shots in a blow to vaccine drive. J&J's coronavirus vaccine trial is paused after adverse. That's another CNBC. Another one down here, I can't see what it is. Yahoo. J&J on pause. J&J on pause. By the way, it sounds J&J on pause sounds like they're going through menopause, rather than they have to stop the rollout of an experimental jab because it is causing human beings harm. Okay. So this is, this may be strike 3 for YouTube, folks. So make sure, let me take you here for a second, because I can't not talk about this stuff. And by the way, YouTube, I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm not telling anybody what to do. What I'm doing is I'm showing them how they can see other information out there that could benefit them. That's all I'm doing. Okay. And so let me take you to, this is D Junction 32. We have almost 2,000 subscribers. Please, folks, right now, go and sign up. Go in and click like and what do you call it? Subscribe. Because after we get our third strike on Dave Sned YouTube, we're going to be here. Okay? D Junction 32. D Junction 32. No spaces. Okay? So please go there and hit the bell notification so you know when I go live. And when you find out when I go live, then you will know that that you are absolutely, that we've been kicked off that other one, because I'll be live on D Junction rather than live elsewhere. So we have Stephanie Dawn in the green room, and we're waiting on Rachel Balanzat. So please keep that in mind. Please go take care of that. So that was that's what's happening right now in the war room, Todd. you know, exactly what we're talking about right now.
Yeah, I mean, and you have to always think, Dave, the biggest thing that people that want to even argue about this whole CV fiasco is why isn't anyone really concerned with where it came from?
Yeah, and it's that's the other thing is that they haven't even questioned that particular lab as to what's going on. So
Right.
they're not after the truth. They're absolutely not after the truth.
That to me is the biggest red flag.
Yeah.
That I can see, because if somebody has a sickness, okay.
Hey, my brother, can we finish that thought? I want you to pick up right where you're at, because I have my guests on, and can I call you back after they're off?
Yeah, I'll see if I can stay awake.
Okay.
No, I'm just
Okay.
Just give me a buzz afterwards.
All right, brother. Thank you, man. And we got some stuff to dive into with Putin, with what's going on with Biden and the whole bit. I got some stuff on that. So,
cool.
All right, brother. Thank you.
See you.
Thank you, Cindy. Later. Thank you, Todd. All right, see you guys in a bit. All right, folks. As I mentioned, we have some dear friends of mine and our guests, and I want to bring them in. We have Stephanie Dawn. Stephanie, welcome. And Rachel Balancet, welcome, guys.
Hi.
And I think we're going to do it. Hey, how are you?
Great.
Good to see you both.
Yeah, thank you. So good to see you. Hi, Rachel.
Hi. Nice to see you guys.
Hey, so we're gonna do 3 across. I was gonna have you guys on top of each other, but I haven't figured that one out yet. But at any rate, so I just want to say we're gonna do about 15 minutes. We're gonna talk. I want you guys to hear Stephanie's story and Rachel's story briefly, and about what we're doing with Purium. And so I want to just introduce these 2 fabulous ladies who are absolutely they're killing it from a standpoint of business wise, and which is there's an independence that I hope for all of us to be independent from the government, independent from a boss, independent from financial tyranny. And so that's a big part of it, but also independent from medical and food tyranny that we're experiencing on a daily basis in this world here that we're living in right now. So take it away. Stephanie is a friend that I met in the vax movement, the anti-vax movement, and through the Waldorf curriculum. And she introduced me to Rachel, and these 2 ladies are basically my support team for anybody here in the audience that wants to learn more about this, about the health benefits, and also about the business possibilities. And folks, this is the only commercial we're doing tonight, and it's more than a commercial. When you hear these ladies speak, you'll know that for sure. So please, Stephanie, take it away, and maybe you can also introduce Rachel as well. Thank you.
Yeah, with pleasure. Well, thank you so much, Dave, for having us on your show. And hello, all SNED heads that I know and those that I don't know yet. So I've been on a health journey for a while now, as you know, David, and I really appreciated your support over the years because, I've been really public with what's been going on with me. I 2 years ago received a breast cancer diagnosis, and almost out of the gate after receiving that diagnosis, I really didn't feel that the allopathic oncological model was right for me in any way, shape, or form. And at that point, I'd already been doing the Purium Superfoods for 3 years. I'd already lost 35 pounds, and I was feeling amazing. So it was kind of shocking to me that I received a breast cancer diagnosis. But, such is the nature of cancer. It can kind of show up in your life when you don't think anything's wrong, when you think that you're healthy. And so I decided to heal the cancer naturally. And that's what I've been doing ever since. So, somebody asked me the other day, they're like, "Are you a cancer survivor, Stephanie?" I was like, yes. I guess, yes, I am. I mean, I don't really, I'm living, I still have tumors in my body and I'm working to disappear them every day. And the real thread in terms of my health has been the daily superfoods, like I'm doing a lot of other things too, but nutrition, the importance of nutrition, David, really was underscored for me with the cancer diagnosis. And I started learning about all the anti-cancer properties of the products that we have as well. So that's been really profound for me too. And now I can help other people who might be faced with a cancer diagnosis or a tumor. And so, it's a rich journey that, that I'm able to be here breathing. I'm grateful, and that I'm able to be of service. It's meaningful to me.
Beautiful. Breast cancer, let's face it, who doesn't know somebody with breast cancer that's had breast cancer and not had a great story of triumph as you have. And I can tell everyone in this audience right now that Stephanie has just taken a holistic and just a fantastic approach to your body in how you went about, really making it through that journey. And it was not an easy journey, and yet you were amazing through it all. So hats off to you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. And then, I do want to speak to the financial aspect of how it is that I've been able to do all this, because that's important part of this story and a part of being with you tonight, Dave, because I know that you're all about solutions. Okay. And so what I want all the Snedheads to hear from me tonight is that 3 years ago, when I got that cancer diagnosis, I was a very busy business coach. I had a very robust clientele, and I was working Purium on the side, like it was my side stream of income. And when I got that cancer diagnosis, I stepped out of the business coaching. I stepped out of Purium. The business coaching income went bye-bye. And the Purium income continued coming in for 6 months until I was able to get back in the saddle and start working my business again. So that was remarkable to me, the residual income model and how it was really able to support me. Thanks to Rachel too, who I'll introduce in a moment here. Rachel's ability to really look after the team that I had grown for 3 years was enormously important. So we have a really powerful community of which you and so many of the Snedheads are a part of. And it's really just, we're here tonight to invite you to join us, we're transforming our health and our wealth every single day. And on that note, I really got to give it up to my colleague here, Rachel Balansat, who's been a side by for me on my health journey. We work together very closely in the business, and she's incredibly successful, much more successful than me in this business. She's been doing it just a little bit longer, but she knows so much about so much in regards to health. And I defer to you every day, Rachel. I'm really glad you're here tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate it so much. And I love you. And it's so amazing. When you had told me that one of the tumors had shrank from 9 centimeters to 3 centimeters back in the day, like with 2 months into your journey, I was like, holy cow, I've never even heard of that. So,
Wow.
So you're a real resource for anybody who's struggling with cancer. So I just want to say that, like, she's an incredible resource. And so, and I know you've been doing multiple things to do that. So thank you for all the people that you've been helping by sharing that story. And for me personally, my story started about 6 years ago. I discovered Purium, and I was looking for a solution for my health. And so I was struggling with Hashimoto's autoimmune disorder of the thyroid. And I had just extreme adrenal fatigue. I napped all the time. I was brain fogged. I was bloated. I had digestive issues. I mean, I was a hot mess. And I couldn't even imagine. I was turning away work. I was a wedding photographer, and I could barely function. and I just had to quit. I just basically had to kind of let go of that business because I just couldn't do it anymore. And I gradually started studying Ayurveda and got into, studying healing because I wanted to heal myself, the wounded healer, And
Yep.
I looked at the ingredients when someone tagged me in someone's story on Facebook, and I was like, wow, this is an amazing experience this woman has, this other woman. And so I reached out and I began the protocol, and about 7 days in, all my symptoms were gone. Like all of my symptoms were lifted in the 7 days of this, what we call the acceleration. And this is just a saturation of nutrients, superfoods. And there's all these, there's like 5 essential products that are part of this 30-day protocol that are incredible. And they each play a different role, and they're all working together. And one of the most important products is something that removes glyphosate. And so glyphosate is the Roundup, is the toxin in Roundup. So this is sprayed on all our food. It is a crime that it is legal to be sprayed on wheat, which it is used, even as I learned from Stephanie, as a desiccant, which means it dries it out and makes it better for harvest and gets rid of mold and all this stuff. This is a toxin that kills everything, and it kills all the bacteria in your gut as well. So this is something that the rise of, there's correlations, and we have a book called The Toxin That Came to Dinner that the founder of the company wrote, and it shows the correlation of the rise of cancer, the rise of all these different diabetes, all these different illnesses have been on the rise as this toxin, it's an herbicide, has been introduced more and more into agriculture. And so with the rise of this comes a rise of everything else, right? And so while we're still trying to beat down Monsanto, we're trying to like beat down these chemicals, and probably another chemical will pop up in the future. But long story short is we have to find a way to get rid of this out of the body. And so that particular product is part of our 30-day pack. And this 30-day protocol is both a cleanse. It's only 10 days of it is a cleanse, or you could do the simple superfoods lifestyle, which is like a lifestyle ongoing. And that one is also really amazing. So either way, you can start to uplift yourself, start to feel more energy, start to feel things cleaning out. And it also, the Biometic is proven in 6 weeks to remove 75% of glyphosate and reduce CRP by 75%.
So I just want to say that since you and I, the three of us talked last week, I went back on coffee since we were talking months ago. And but since I just started taking the amino acids 3 times a day, and I've been taking the Biometic, which is the one that takes out the glyphosate. Now we narrowed it down at the age of 55 that wheat, or glyphosate, I should say, made me angry. It shortened my temper. And I got to say, since I've been off wheat and I've been on the Biometic, right, taking that every day, that I only get pissed off at the Illuminati. All right. Okay.
Only real things. Okay,
that's my only. Yeah, exactly. All right. I only get pissed off at the stuff I should get pissed off at. Okay. Not my family, not my friends, not myself. Okay. How many people here beat themselves up? But so at any rate, I'm glad you mentioned that. And and somebody Anita says that she has Hashimoto. And so I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit, Rachel. Oh, and Kelly says, yes, Dave, we can vouch for you on that one.
Want me to speak to that for a moment?
You got to be kidding me. I'm having audio problems again.
Oh, I apologize. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that was nice.
Can you hear me now?
You sound like you're drunk.
Sorry.
Okay, so
Steph, you want to tell my story?
Well,
I can hear you now, Rachel.
Yeah, I can hear
I was going to say, Steph Steph, you can take over and tell my story if I cut out again. You know it.
I do know her story. She was so. Yeah. Go ahead, honey. Go ahead.
Just long story short is my health got better in 7 days, in the first 7 days, and it's been 6 years. So I can't say it cured or healed me, but definitely chatting this in.
Yeah, Stephanie, maybe you ought to explain it. Sorry, Rachel, you broke up again.
We're losing you, Rach. We're losing you. Long story short, she is basically an incredibly healthy woman who is now bodybuilding, is winning awards for her bodybuilding, her athleticism. Hashimoto's and adrenal fatigue are a thing of the past in terms of how it's affecting her life. That's really the most important transmission here. Like, she's the superstar, with her health and with all that she's been able to create in terms of her success with our company. So she's just, she's a rock star, and she's looking nowhere but up. Like, we were just talking this afternoon. I was on the ferry coming home from being in Seattle all day. And I'm like, Rachel, I just cannot even believe, like, she's totally inspiring so many people every single day. And so this is the community that we want to invite anyone who's, feeling what you're feeling here in terms of joining Dave's team. Dave, you've been going through your health journeys, and I was so glad that we were able to chat last week and we were able to say, do this, Dave, do that, Dave, let go of that, do this. So we've got each other's back here, I think is what I'm trying to say, with the health piece and also with the wealth piece. Like, you get it both with us.
Yeah, exactly. Health and wealth. And I love it. And we had a great response, everybody. There were so many people that jumped into this, and we kind of dropped off a little bit because of what I was going through. And quite honestly, I wasn't on the products full on. Like, and I wasn't taking the aminos like you told me to last week, even though you told me that that's what Dave, the founder, does. Takes it 3 times a day. And oh my God, the difference in my energy, and people can see it, right? It's called Purium, folks. And I just dropped the link in the chat. The gift card is Snedecation. And I just dropped it, ishoppurium.com, so you can click on that link if you want to check that out. And real quick, Stephanie, I just want you to share the quick story about the glyphosate and your boy, who I adore, and if you wouldn't mind telling that quick story.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite topics, not because of what happened to me, but because of how many people are completely unaware of what's going on with our food supply, which is that we are dealing with a food supply that is absolutely drenched with glyphosate. It's everywhere in everything, which is why I reached out to you all those years ago, Dave. I'm like, you got to know about this, because I want the people in the know, which is who you were to me, to know about this, because it's so important. And I knew that you worked with children. I knew that you were in the Waldorf world. So Zephyr was really, he suffered from, I have 2 boys, Zephyr and Jasper. Zephyr is 14 now, but for most of his young life, from the time he could eat until he was about 7 or 8, he suffered from what I would call a compromised gut. And I thought that this was just Zephyr's constitution. I did not know any better as a new mom that what was going on was connected to what he was eating. So I found out that Cheerios have the highest parts per billion of glyphosate on them of all the products tested in 2016. And this was a report that was done by the Detox Project and Food Democracy Now! That rocked Big Ag, Dave, rocked Big Ag. But unfortunately, they scrambled for a bit, and I don't know if they made any changes. Not that I can see, to be honest with you, because, Cheerios is still drenched with glyphosate, and they're not making any changes, in my opinion, to be changed. I reached out to them multiple times a year ago to see if we could get some traction, see if I could get on the phone with someone and talk with them. And they just kept, giving me the standard letters and Thank you very much, Miss Dawn, etc. But anyhow, so Zephyr got really, really sick, and I took the Cheerios out of our diet. And at that point, I didn't know about the product that we had to remove glyphosate. We didn't have it yet. But 2 years later, Zephyr was sick again. And I'm like, now what? Right. And so he stopped eating Cheerios almost every day, and he was eating wheat bagels from Trader Joe's. Well, it turns out wheat is also drenched with glyphosate. And so he was really ill from the wheat bagels. Gave him the Biomedic, took out the wheat bagels, gave him the Biomedic, which takes glyphosate out of the body. It's been proven to do that by a third party, the detoxproject.org. And I got my boy back in like 7 days, So
I'm sorry, Stephanie. I just wanted to touch on this. And by the way, which direction do you think we're going? Okay. Bill Gates has 20 million shares of Bayer Monsanto, and he just bought up. He is now the single largest landowner in the United States, and he's buying up land around the world, farmland. Okay. Do you think Bill Gates is going to grow organic? Or do you think Bill Gates is going to take even greater control over humanity by poisoning them even more than he's doing presently with the medical community, with his ownership of Imperial College in London, with the University of Washington, with WHO, with CDC? I mean, it's going in the wrong direction. And when you first introduced me to Purium, we were, not everything was organic with Purium. And now everything is organic, and they have the glyphosate killer that you only have to take twice a day, really easy capsules to take, or you can do it in a shake, which is, I think, the tastiest shake that Purium has, which is the Epigenius Kids.
Yes. Yeah. I agree. Oh my God, that's such a loaded question, Dave. Oh my God. I think that, well, first of all, I just really want to honor and acknowledge how you've just continued to raise your voice in the midst of this most unprecedented times that we're living in. Everybody needs to be raising their voices all the time, everywhere, at the grocery store, on the social networks, like wherever we got to be treating and moving our feet, as we say in my spiritual community, we got to pray, and then we got to take action. Okay. And so I don't know what Bill Gates is going to do. I can't, I'm not a psychic, but it's never been more important. Number one, to support organic farmers.
Yes.
If you have any inclination to become an organic farmer, to do that, to plant a victory garden, all of these things are so important, and to support companies like ours that are doing the right thing every single day. And the other thing I want to highlight about us, Dave, is that we're going plastic free in 2021.
Yeah, that's amazing. And by the way, I was trying to find something to eat today, and I ended up, I was going to a taco truck, and that didn't work out. So I ended up going to Subway, and I don't do the wheat. So I just got like a salad, and they put it in this plastic container. And the single-use plastic that's happening right now is just off the charts. And it's criminal, the level that we're finding with all of this. So the fact that Purium is going plastic free is just, it's a tremendous statement to their commitment, not just to our health, but to our community, our world.
Yeah. Our planet, our world. We're walking our talk. And I also wanted, did you share the link for the ULT to your people, Dave?
I did. I shared a link for products, and when you click on that link, folks, you'll see what I ordered when I first got started. And it literally, one of the things I wanted to mention too is Rachel, used this as a money saver when she first started using it. And she saved a tremendous amount of money because she replaced her meals with the shakes. So not only was she transforming her body, but she was helping herself because she didn't have the money and so she saved money, and I've done that as well when I got into it. So I shared that link. I also shared the CBD link, okay, which Purium has an incredible line of organic CBD products. So if people are into CBD or looking to get into CBD, Purium is a great place to go for that. And then now I'm going to share a link to the actual business.
So let me talk about that for a moment, Dave, because here's what I want everyone to know is that if you want to try these products, if you want to do what Dave did and try the Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation, which both Rachel and I highly recommend, we're watching lives change daily with this 30-day detox and, renewal, really. It's just a renewal for your entire body, all your organs, your blood, your lymphatic system, everything. You can do this and you can upgrade to the business for free. The business ordinarily is $199. And so it's free right now with a purchase of the Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation. And that's just like, it's like you can't go wrong. You get the products, you get the business. If you do not want to share and you don't want to join Dave's team and work with Dave and I, then by all means, just be a customer. We want you to be a happy customer, and you can always upgrade down the road if you want to share and you want to do the business. So,
right.
I just want to make sure that was transmitted.
Awesome. Thank you for that. So all the links are there, folks. I want to thank you, Stephanie, and also Rachel, who I think we lost again, for coming on, and we'll do this again.
Sure.
But I will say this, that Stephanie, how can they get a hold of you? Can I share that with the audience in the chat, or can you do that in the chat? And if they can reach out to you,
I don't know that I see a chat here, but if I did, I would type it in there. But I can be reached via email,
I'll type it in for you. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. It's Sacred, SACRED.
Okay.
Birth, BIRTH.
Yep.
At me.com. Me.com.
Yes. And we also know each other through this sacred birthing community of, really birthing children the way that we've been doing since the beginning of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the community that I was a part of for a really long time, is the birth world, the global birth world, midwives, doulas.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Stephanie, thank you. You are an inspiration. You are a powerful woman, and thank you, Rachel. And so sorry we had some connection problems, but I'll have you back again, and thank you so much for being here.
Awesome, Dave. Bless you. Bless you all, Snedeker.
See you.
Hold the light, everyone. Mwah. Bye-bye.
Love you. All right. Bye-bye.
Love you, Dave. Bye now.
Bye-bye. All right, folks. That was Stephanie Dawn and Rachel Balancet. Thank you for hanging out with us for that. And we're going to get back to the news. I left those links in the chat. You can reach out to Stephanie at sacredbirth@me.com to find out how you can be a part of my team, or just find out more about the products. And obviously the links that I left you for the products, you can check those out as well. So, folks, that's our commercial for the evening. So thank you for that. And also, what a great, inspiring two lovely women that have transformed their lives health-wise and wealth-wise through being involved in an incredibly authentic company that deals only in organic materials, organic products, and they're going plastic free in 2021. And to go plastic free, you got to understand that they're already halfway there with the products that I get. So, all right. Thank you all. Hey, Todd, Cindy, call back in when you can, please. And I look forward to having you back on. I appreciate you stepping aside and letting those lovely ladies just enter the room. Folks, we are one of the things that Todd was talking about here is is the whole, we were talking about the whole medical, how they're treating this, how they're using this word pause, how they're manipulating humanity with language and with medical tyranny. And there they are. Hello, hello.
Hi.
Hey, thanks for calling back.
Absolutely. They were wonderful.
Aren't they awesome?
Yeah, very enlightening.
They are an inspiration, and we were doing weekly calls, which we'll get back to support folks that get involved. So you'll be on a weekly call with me, a Zoom call, and so we're going to get back to that on Saturdays. And but yeah, so
I'm getting rid of my Cheerios.
oh yeah. It's that is the worst stuff. And folks, I want to show you this too. On the Indoctrination page, you'll see under market. I'm going to take you there real quick just so you can get the information. Under market, if you see, you'll see the Purium and then the Detox Project. This is the third-party verification that the product that that Purium has actually works to get the glyphosate out of your system. Folks, this is about solutions, okay? It's about solutions to the tyranny that we're facing right now, okay? So we help you, protect you from toxic chemicals, all right? And then come back to make sure you come back to my page if you want to be a part of my team or support the broadcast. So hey, let's get back to the Taco Tuesday show here. We were talking about the shot, and I had showed you about the pause and how it was affecting across the board there. But this is also we found out that the CV variants affect the ones that have gotten the jab more than those who haven't. This was today, and a new study from Tel Aviv University in Israel, which, by the way, Israel was really, really pushing for the jab, right, has found that people shot with the Pfizer BioNTech shot are 8 times more likely to have the South African variant of the CCP virus, CV19. It is the first in the world to be based on real-world data, showing that the shot is less effective against the South Africa variant compared to both the original virus and the British variant, said Professor Ron Balisser, Director of Research at Khalid Health Services, a top Israeli healthcare provider also involved with the study. The peer-reviewed study looked at 400 people who received at least one shot of the jab and who also contracted the variant. They were compared to 400 people who were infected as well but were not given the jab. The findings showed that the B1351 variant of the virus was found 8 times more in individuals who were jabbed, or 5.4% against 0.7% against those who were not, okay? Now, folks, this is the kind of information that you would get from double-blind studies with volunteers, okay? But basically, they have built so much fear into this that people are volunteering for this experimental, which is invalidating many insurance policies and also life insurance policies. You got to look at your life insurance policy to see if taking in experimental drugs invalidates if you die from it, okay? So this should be done over years before we bring something to market. This is not the case, and that's why they have to continue this pandemic so that they are in a state of emergency, which allows them to continue to roll these out. Because if this was not a state of emergency legally, they would not be able to roll these jabs out. Todd, I cut you off, brother, when you were talking about this stuff earlier. What else did you want to say about this, or did I lose you?
I'm still here. Yeah, I Oh, I would think I was talking about the origins, of how normally you would be, want to hunt down the cause of this. And that is so abnormal for this to go on this long. As another, I believe it was actually, oh gosh, who was the doctor that just came out that used to be the head of the, was it the CDC, that's been actually pro Trump position? You just mentioned him. I'm sorry, I forgot his name. It escapes me. Redfield.
Oh yeah,
Dr.
Yeah.
When any other of these diseases ever came up, they always found like the bat that it came from, like right away within the first 30 days. They found where the Ebola very first ground zero first person was.
Yep.
And now you look at this, the worst pandemic to hit since 1918, and they're not interested at all if this is a naturally occurring disease. They're not interested at all in finding the original bat, miracle bat, which we all know is fake.
Yes.
But where is the public outcry? That's what I don't understand. I mean, we've been screaming this for over a year now.
Well,
it doesn't make any sense when you have a pandemic. The first thing you want to do is make sure that another pandemic doesn't come from the same spot, right?
Yeah. You get to the heart of the matter. You go to the source of the problem, and you get. They didn't even investigate the lab. They took the lab owners. They took their own word for it.
Right.
How do you do that? It's the greatest pandemic in the history of humanity, and you're not going to go investigate the lab where it came from, and you're just going to take their word for it? Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's just, it's jaw-dropping when you go back and think about it. I was just doing that the other day. In fact, we've got a really great guy in town that's a doctor that gets about 10 to 15 minutes on a radio show in the morning. And he asks these questions, on the radio, so that people that are listening he paints them into a picture, into a corner where there's nowhere else to go but why isn't this, ask that question. Why aren't the origins, why is that not important?
Yeah.
Why is patient zero? Who was patient zero? How these things can go for as long as they've gone should also be an indictment on how things are proceeding from that point on.
Yeah.
If it starts out fishy and it continues to be fishy, it's fishy, right?
Yep.
This is I'm making progress through some, to some of my friends and acquaintances, by saying, why haven't they found the bat?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, how did they do that? And I said, well, they found the bat in SARS, before they found the bat. It took them literally like 2 days.
Yeah.
And when Ebola breaks out in Africa, they know exactly where it came from, what happened, what village, the person, who it was, their age.
Yep.
They know everything about patient zero. Well, in this pandemic, why shouldn't we know the same information?
Because they have no interest in getting to the bottom of it. That's not the agenda, obviously, right? It's uncanny, Todd. Like you said, why aren't people just, we've got this guy. Check this guy out. Okay. This is a former Pfizer exec,
Oh my
former
God, yeah.
Pfizer vice president, Dr. Yeadon, that the CV variant's not more dangerous, booster shots not needed, but could be used for mass murder. Again, YouTube, Facebook. I am reporting what other people are reporting and what other people are saying. Okay. Like a fireman tasked with helping to get as many people as possible out of a burning building that is about to collapse, Dr. Michael Yeadon, Pfizer's former vice president and chief scientist for allergy and respiratory, has been granting interviews to as many people in the alternative media as possible. If you can get to him, I will have him on. So please reach out to him and ask him if he will be on our show. In recent days, to sound the alarm on the evil intentions behind the new CV experimental injections that have now preceded thousands of deaths and hundreds of thousands of injuries worldwide. He was interviewed today by independent journalist Taylor Hudak and published by The Last American Vagabond. Dr. Yeadon repeats some things in this interview that he has been saying for months now, including the fact that for people under the age of 70, the risk of getting sick from this is less of a risk factor than getting sick from the annual flu virus. This is the guy who was the chief scientist for allergy and respiratory for one of the biggest pharmaceutical companies in the world. And the doctor that I talked to today, his number was that it's 8 times more deadly than the flu virus. No, it's not. It's not. Okay. As an avid motorcycle rider, Dr. Yeadon points out that his risk to harm from riding motorcycles is greater than his risk of being harmed by CV at the age of 60. Okay. He vehemently warns against younger people getting the experimental shots when they are almost zero risk of being harmed by CV, but have a tremendous risk of being harmed by the new experimental shots. Okay. He is especially concerned about the push to vaccinate young pregnant women and children. Again, I am not a doctor. I am not recommending anything. I am using other people's words, and I'm sharing that information so that my audience can decide for themselves whether or not this is right for them. Okay. I am not giving medical advice, nor is Todd or Cindy. Yeah, Todd. I mean, this is really uncanny what we're experiencing here.
And I think, Dave, I also think that maybe in some weird way that this is part of the plan. I don't know how. I don't know why. I don't know everything about this, but they've let everyone expose themselves up to this point, and it looks like there's some exposure coming here for the medical community, if you ask me.
Well, Todd, I can't even tell you the feelings that we're going through and the thoughts that were going through my mind as this doctor stood, away from me in fear of getting something that he has no chance of dying from. Very, very little chance. Who didn't know about the 5 governors sending them back into the nursing homes, didn't know about the 42% number, didn't know about the number of, he didn't know about any of this, and he's dealing with this every single day. But as I've mentioned, the Western medicine is more brainwashed, if you will, than anybody, because they spend a ridiculous amount of time in the Rockefeller, Foundation controlled Western medicine scene.
Well, and it's funny, Dave, because I have a doctor friend that like I told you last week, I believe, that patients in Peoria and in Springfield, and he's already had 16 patients in each town, each city, that have gotten COVID after they got the jab.
It's unbelievable. It's
So
unbelievable.
why?
Well,
I'm just if it's not going to open up everything back to normal, if you still have to go under the same protocols that we're under now, then what is, and you can still get it, you can still transmit it, and it's all been documented. It doesn't stop it doesn't stop you from getting it. There's a better chance, I guess, supposedly through their studies. But Dave, where is this incentive to run out and get it?
Yep.
I just don't.
It's pure fear, my friend. Like the gentleman said on CNN, fear sells, and fear not only sells because people want to tune into that fear to see how fearful they should be, but it also sells in the sense that they're willing to buy whatever it is that gets them out of that fear. And so this is a Hegelian dialectic problem, reaction, solution, and the solution is to control humanity, which they've successfully done, with the exception of all those who have awakened and broken free from the indoctrination and come to their common senses and are now rage against the machine, my friends. Okay. Hey, we have beaten this CV horse to death, my friend, and let's jump to another topic here, and then I want to get into some of the Delta stuff quickly. I'm already over. I'm only at what am I at? 2 hours right now. So I've got a little bit more in me, but I want to share a few things here, Todd, and get your take on. Here is Joe Biden warns Vladimir Putin to respect Ukraine, calls for summit. Todd, are Joe Biden's intentions with Ukraine, are they? Would you say that they're altruistic?
Well, all I have to say, that's a big word, Dave. I would say that I'm going by Joe Biden's response to aggression by Russian forces. And I know when he was vice president under Barack that they sent pillows and blankets, and I think MREs.
And
so that's where they stood for Ukraine back then, and it was the Trump administration who sent the tank killer rockets and the defensive weapons. So I would have to say that Joe really doesn't give two shits about Ukraine other than the fact that it's his piggy bank.
Exactly. So as Christy said earlier, Putin must be shaking in his boots. That when Biden uses such tough words,
I'm sure that that there's nothing but total respect for him, being as they know that he also outed a bunch of his unmasked agents in China. The Patriots, and I'm sure that there's nothing but respect for Putin. I'm sure he's really scared to debate. He probably have to show up, go to Joe's basement from 10 in the morning till about 4, and then that debate would be over.
And here's the thing. By the way, Biden, look at his black eyes. Very the dark. He's got blue eyes, folks. If you really have been following Joe Biden. But also, I don't want to say this is, I don't want to take chip shots at Joe Biden. I just want to point out the fact that we have already established that he has used money that the U.S. government was going to give Ukraine, and by U.S. government I mean you and I and our tax dollars, and he has used that as leverage to stop an investigation of his son, Hunter, and his business dealings in Ukraine, where he got well over $3 million. So that's, and by the way, Putin knows this. Now here's where it gets interesting, my friend, is that if you look at, this is Russia Today, okay? Putin is poised to set out a vision. This was April 6th, by the way. And this is why the deep state has to go after Putin, because here's what you're about to find out here. Putin is poised to set out a vision for future in a dramatic speech in what allies say will be the world's most important political event. I'm going to say this again. Putin's allies have said that his speech that he's going to give very soon will be the world's most important political event. Russian President Vladimir Putin is reportedly preparing to give a major address in which he will fire, what the hell did I just do? Sorry, guys. In which he will fire the starting pistol on a new era and set out a different vision for the future of his country as the CV-19 pandemic wanes. Okay? Because now, as this pandemic wanes, folks, we're going to get into the stuff that we really should be dealing with and talking about. If you go to a 17 drop of 937 glimpse, you cannot possibly imagine the size of this, meaning the corruption across the planet. Trust the plan. Trust there are more good than bad. The world is helping. We are not alone. We are all connected in this fight. Patriots unite. We are winning big. Watch this speech. God bless. That was March 10th, 2018. Which leads us to another drop of 140 on November 11th, 2017. What if China, Russia, and others are coordinating with POTUS to eliminate the New World Order? Okay? What if China, Russia, and others are coordinating with POTUS to eliminate the New World Order? We know that Xi is on board with Trump. He took him into the Forbidden City and dined in the Forbidden City. Never happened before and may never happen again. Russia, he's got the respect of Russia. Putin gave him the soccer ball with what we believe to be the drive of all of the emails and all the information of Hillary Clinton that would be to her demise and the demise of the Democrat Party, and others like Modi and India are coordinating with POTUS to eliminate the New World Order. Folks, this is worldwide. This is not just the United States. This is worldwide. And what we're about to see happen from Putin is going to rock the world. And that is very, very important. Todd, thoughts on that?
Well, I think that leads back to the submissions that we've gone over many times, where China submitted and, the Vatican submitted, the royals submitted, all these people that basically, early in Trump's career as president, they all had to submit to President Trump, and we've gone over that many times.
Yeah, we've gone through that whole trip. That whole trip was just amazing, including the monarch.
And where did it start?
The Vatican.
It started in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Yep. And that was what, the drops said, that Saudi Arabia would be the first.
Yes.
And that's why it led to things like the Las Vegas shooting. It's amazing when you look back on the path that we've taken to get here, Dave. We can't forget this. Yeah. And I know a lot of our listeners have gone on this path with us, but if you just travel the same path and you see the same markers and you think
Yeah.
about the markers that we've seen, you can't forget about those markers. And
Yeah.
those markers are important. I mean, basically the whole world has submitted to Donald Trump.
Yes. And not just Donald Trump, but a new era of abundance for everyone and all the people involved, meaning the people of the countries involved, not the leaders, not cutting deals, backroom deals like Biden going over to China with Hunter and coming back 10 days later, and Hunter has $1.5 billion deposited into his account at Rosemont, Seneca. Is it Rosemont? Rosemont, Seneca.
Yes, that's it.
With his partner, Devin Archer, who is, I think, in prison right now.
Yes.
And so that happened. So Trump's not going around cutting deals. He's not going to China and saying, "Hey, you gave Biden 1.5 billion. I need 2.5." Do you know how easy that would have been? Boom. China would have done it like that. Why? Because the alternative would have been to actually have to follow Donald Trump's new trade policy with China, which is to balance the trade, which was completely imbalanced, and bringing that back into balance. It was going to destroy China's infrastructure and their goal to be one road, one belt initiative, and it was going to derail that whole thing. And they couldn't have that, which is why they had to postpone the negotiation with Trump and until they were able to release the virus and destroy the economy and enslave humanity. And folks, we have proof on that across the board. And I'm telling you, you're going to see it. I've shown it. Todd's talked about it. Cindy's talked about it. We've all talked about it. We're going to find this, folks, and it's going to be, wow, it's going to be huge. When
I got it. And the other thing that kind of, we forget about, and it's mentioned many times in the drops, is they never thought she would lose.
Yes. Yeah.
That if you just think in small, don't on this. Normally I say look big picture. Now I'm saying look micro picture. I'm looking at one event. Hillary Clinton losing the presidential election in 2016.
Yeah.
That she could not lose. Why? Because they had it rigged then. And military intelligence stepped in and blocked all of the efforts that they had made to make this election unwinnable for Donald Trump or unlosable for HRC. So that began this 4 or 5 years of just craziness that you've seen that we've never seen in this country ever.
Yes.
You've never seen such an attack on any leader in any office in the United States of America.
Never.
That just shows you how close the deep state came to actually finishing the job that they started under B.
Yes. So, I wanted to pull this up, Todd, because this is the reaction that you're going to start seeing around the world. This was from March 31st. We covered this, but Belgium must lift all CV-19 measures within 30 days, Brussels court rules. Now, we covered this when it happened, but I wanted to bring it up again because this is what's happening. People in Brussels, remember I showed you the video of people being run over by a horse, by horses going through the crowd. They were being sprayed with water. They were being beaten and dragged off, and they were protesting on a public space. And now look what's happening with the League for Human Rights had filed the lawsuit several weeks ago and challenged Belgium's system of implementing the measures using ministerial decrees, which means it is done without any input from Parliament. Okay? Ministerial decrees, which means it's done without any input from Parliament. They're not even allowing Parliament to vote on this. Why? Because Parliament already screwed up and screwed them over. That's a fact. Okay? So they're not going to let the same politicians, okay, who got them into this mess and got us into this mess, decide that we're going to get out of it. No, they're going around them. Okay. The judge gave the Belgian state 30 days to provide a sound legal basis or face a penalty of €5,000 per day that this period is exceeded with a maximum limit of 200,000, reports Lessor. Okay. So this is what's happening. Thank you, Lamas, for that. And we are, we're going to see more and more of this kind of thing happening. Todd,
well, what's shocking, Dave, is that we're not, we as a free people, we're not the ones leading when it comes to the protests in the world, if you ask my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where the fear is. I think it's generated by the media and possibly, cancel culture and BLM and Antifa and blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
But I'll tell you what, I just don't, there has to be just an enormous amount of patriots that are getting a little antsy here, and they're not going to be standing around when the border's being overrun, when the Second Amendment rights are being infringed upon so greatly.
Yeah.
And we're dealing with this second phase of hoaxness and crushing the economy and crushing the middle class.
It will not stand.
It just can't go on forever. And I hope that, that people are feeling it, like I feel it, because I've been feeling it. I know you've been feeling it for a year now, at least, that something big has to happen, or something really big is going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I know even early on, you used to say, if Trump doesn't take care of it and get these people out, then eventually we will.
Yeah. Yep.
And I don't know how much more a population can really take. But I think we have to be able to generate a little fear ourselves. And I think it might start, as Christie would say, by calling your congressmen, by calling your senators, by making our voices heard, to our representatives. That might be the first step, but there's going to be more steps than that as this continues on. I mean, this path doesn't end well for the people in power.
No, not at all. It's very, very bad, and it's not going to end well at all. And here's the thing. Even the ones that see that and want to, confess, want to apologize, whatever, they're not given the opportunity to do that yet, because they're not done making this happen. Because you got to figure that there are many in the deep state that see what's happening and are like, okay, how do I want to go out? How do I want to be remembered by humanity? Because guess what? They're going to be remembered by humanity in a very, very negative way, or forgotten in a very negative way, and they're not going to, and so, if I were them, I would say, you know what, I want to at least go out saying, you know what, here's what I did, here's what we all did, we're sorry, I'm sorry. and please forgive me. And I beg for your forgiveness, and I will do time, and I will do whatever, judgment comes my way. But I just wanted to say, this is what we were doing. This is what's happening. I'm sorry. That would be the best move that anybody could make that is aware of what's going on, aware of the child trafficking, aware of the human trafficking, aware of the absolute horrendous, the organ harvesting in China. I mean, it's yeah, let's not let's say, for example, that let's say, for example, that China wasn't responsible for CV-19. Let's just give them that. Let's just say to the mainstream media, to the cabal, whoever you want to call it, okay, we're not going to call it the China virus. We're not going to call it this. There's not absolute proof. There's not this or that. We're going to let you have that and say that China wasn't involved in that. Does that mean that China's okay now? I mean, look at what's happening here. Look at what's going on here. This was from January. Momentum against Uyghur forced labor grows as U.S. and U.K. governments take action. Okay. The U.S. government has banned all cotton from the Uyghur region. Again, folks, this was January 15th, before, Mr. Biden, started pretending he was the president. The U.S. government has banned all cotton from the Uyghur region, while the British government is introducing new rules to prevent goods from the Uyghur region from entering the country. I've got an idea. By the way, this is controlled opposition right here, and I'll give you an example why. Okay, first of all, you're looking at Reuters. Okay, that's a Rothschild-owned news agency. Okay. Which gives information to all of the mainstream media. So the U.S. government has banned all cotton from the Uyghur region. Todd, wow, our government really cares about the Uyghurs. We're not going to allow cotton from that region to happen. I've got an idea. Go ahead.
That is such an incredible move by our government, isn't it?
Yeah, but you know what? We'll still buy cotton as long as it's not from that region. So what do? They'll build a concentration camp in another region and send 10,000 Uyghurs over there. They've got 2 million in prison, so they can move them around. How about we stop doing business with China for all anywhere? Because it's not the Uyghur, it's not the Xinjiang, I think is the region. Okay, they call it the Uyghur region, but it's Xinjiang right here. Xinjiang, that's the actual region. But the decision isn't coming from Xinjiang. It's coming from the Chinese Communist Party. Okay, it's coming. It's coming from Beijing. And so these decisions are being made in Beijing, and we're going to try to act like we give a shit as a government by saying we're not going to take cotton from that region because of the forced labor. How about the fact that there are some people that can't even work in the cotton factory in this region, because they're dead, or because they're being raped, or because they're having their kidneys harvested, so that the elite from around the world can get a kidney tomorrow. Okay? Meanwhile, Jay has to wait. How long you got to wait, Jay, for yours? Right? But you go to China, you can get it like that because it's live harvested or from a Uyghur in the concentration camps. Folks, every time you see something like this, you're seeing about 2% of what's really happening. That is the master move of the cabal, of the Illuminati, of the people that control this planet. And when you wake up to that fact, when you awaken to the reality that what you're seeing from jackasses like this reporting this bullshit, okay, when you realize that this is just to placate you, it is there to placate you. Look, the U.S. government is doing some good. They're not going to stand for this kind of behavior. Oh, and the British government is introducing some new rules to prevent goods from the Uyghur region from entering the country too. The people in charge of these governments, with the exception of Trump when he was in charge of the U.S. government and has held the CCP accountable for these things. Meanwhile, Joe talks about how, there's different cultures have different traditions, like rape, torture, and harvesting organs and murder is a tradition in the Uyghur province, in the Xinjiang province of China. Folks, this is the indoctrination that has completely pulled the wool over the eyes of humanity and does it every single day that one of these ticker tapes comes off the wire. That's why they call it the wire. I used to work in Channel 10 in Providence, Rhode Island, and there'd be a ticker tape thing that would come out of this machine from the AP and the UPI, back when the UPI was solvent. And all these news stations would get that same ticker tape. That's why you hear the exact same thing you get the exact same news from all these stations. And that genius move, Todd, of having multiple stations from multiple regions in the country makes Americans, makes humanity think that they are making a choice as to which news they're going to listen to. And by that choice, by that illusion of choice, they actually think that they're choosing the best news source. It is all propaganda, and you are being played like a fiddle.
Hey, think about this one, Dave. I was just, while you were talking, I was thinking, how about just one of our virtue signaling corporations, big corporations, not small ones. Let's say McDonald's, Nike, Apple. They stand up and say, we're not going to, for human rights violations in China, we're not going to do business with China. We're pulling all of our company out of China. We're not going to do business with you anymore. Mm-hmm. Do you anticipate that happening anytime soon?
No. Nope.
No. Absolutely no. Not one chance in hell that they're going to give up that hold on the money that they get from that country based on human rights. Yet they will pull an all-star game. MLB will pull an all-star game from a predominantly minority-owned city, Atlanta, and move to a predominantly white city in Denver, where it's the hypocrisy is so rampant and so easily explained. I mean, I talk to my kids about this stuff. I do. If Coke really wants to make a difference, pull out of China right now.
Yep.
That's it. It's an easy thing. It's really easy. The pressure has to come, and it has to come from somewhere. And unfortunately, it has to come from us as consumers. We have to hurt these companies badly.
Yeah.
Like I will not give a dime of my money to Coke products.
No.
I won't.
No.
I didn't watch. I always on the cusp. My favorite sport in the world was baseball. I lived it, breathed it, wanted it to be my living, was close to making it big. And I didn't watch one inning of baseball last year.
Yep. I didn't watch one basketball game, Todd. And yeah.
in passing, I was flipping through the channels, and I saw a guy standing on second base I think I was breezing through looking at ESPN or something, and I saw a baseball game, and the guy was standing on second base, and they zoomed the camera in, and they had MLB BLM on the base.
Wow.
And I knew right then that I would never watch, never listen to, never go to another baseball game. Yep. And I haven't.
You know, the thing about that is that you have these corporations, and we can sit and point fingers at these corporations, but I haven't watched NBA. Not a minute of it. I haven't paid for a game. I haven't watched the NCAA tournament. Not that they're involved in it, but you know, these universities, their endowments, they're invested in, you know, a lot of these companies that we rage against. You know, and so, you know, there are a lot of people that will point fingers, but where is your 401k? Where is your investment? Where is the school that you work for? Where is their pension fund? You know, how much are you paying for your cable television? How much are you paying for your satellite? That money is going towards Major League Baseball, the NBA. It's going towards Coca-Cola because of the advertisements, you know, the support there. All these stations that we're representing. That's why the new media, we are the new media. That's why we must support new media. You see me down here. I'm putting these PayPal and Venmo down. That's how we get supported. If you guys decide you want to do something with Purium, that supports the program. You want to buy a hat, a sweatshirt, that supports the program. And we do hours and hours of uninterrupted content here, and we are still, you know, not even close to being at a level of sustainability with this Truthcast for myself or for Todd and Cindy. And so, you know, when you sell somebody, I think Kirsten said we sold 9,000 t-shirts. No, we didn't. We sold $9,000 worth of t-shirts. That's a big difference. And that's gross. Right. But you know, so we're trying to, you know, make this work. We're trying to go to the next level, but until humanity shifts into a position of supporting, and you guys are, a lot of you are, don't get me wrong. I'm very grateful for so many of you, but until humanity gets into a position where they are supporting real, true news like we are doing on a daily basis, and saying no to those who are continuing to placate and kowtow to humanity and to the Chinese Communist Party and to the cabal and to the banks and all these places, we're not going to shift the narrative. We're not going to shift the humanity. This isn't about pointing out all the bad people. This is about stepping up and saying, okay, we've got to do something different. We've got to change our way here. Okay. So Todd, I want to take us to April 14th, 2018. We got to do a couple deltas, and then I got to get out of here.
I hear you, brother.
Yeah. But April 14th, 2018. So this is tomorrow, 3-year delta. And there's a graphic I'll go to in a second, but it says expand your thinking, the date versus actual. Let me take you to that. This is on the board, on the 4chan at the time. Night 4, increase in chatter, authorize B19-2, Sparrow Red, prevent at all costs, good, Castle online, 17. Okay. And then it gets down to Mackenzie, 2 U.S. Air Force B-1 Lancer bombers launched 19 missiles. Okay. So this is possible link between Q-Post and McKenzie's statement about missiles in Syria. So they're showing a connection between the 17 drop and the McKenzie statement about missiles in Syria. And then 17's response to this, expand your thinking, the date versus actual. Iran next, trust the plan, April showers in bold caps and in kill brackets. Do you believe in coincidences? Okay. By the way, what was going on today in Washington, D.C. with water?
Cindy kind of brought me up to speed a little bit. I worked and then went over and helped my brother out this afternoon and got home a little bit late. But
cool.
She said that the sandbags, they took down all the fencing and the sandbags were up.
Yeah.
They were supposedly flooding the tunnels. Is that what I was getting out of it?
Well, that's what seems to be happening, that we've heard about Watch the Water from 17. Okay. And let me see. Does anybody have a link to what's going on in DC with the water? I think somebody had sent that to me, but I cannot find it now.
He said she's got it. She'll
okay.
Send it. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
In Messenger?
Sure. Have her send it to Paul. Messenger.
It's Paul in a blink of an eye.
Yeah. By the way, I'm gonna share this the blood clot risk update. I'm going to share that out right now. That was from ZDog MD. One of the Sned heads shared that out, and I will try to find out who that is. So let me pull this up, and where'd it go? Here it is. Okay. Here we go.
This cop just shot out in front of me. It's 9:52 here on April 13th, guys. I'm at the...
This was just a couple hours ago.
Haynes Point is that way. Sirens are going off. Saw a couple fire trucks coming across. A second ago. The tide is high, guys. Look at this.
That's a park bench right there. Is this the Potomac? Yeah. That's the Potomac.
So I'm here, guys.
I think that was Key Bridge.
Excuse me.
Going into Georgetown.
The water's rising, guys. Right now.
That's not the Key Bridge.
Trees in the water here.
Okay. 14th Street, I believe.
Benches in the water here.
Very interesting. So anything that has to do with the water.
Skies are purple. There's the monument, guys.
I don't know why we're having such a lag on this. This is, it's crazy. But so here's some pictures of how high it is. Okay. And how high the water is. Some cool shots. And Richard, citizen journalist, is doing some great work there. Thank you, Richard. But anytime we're talking about Watch the Water, we got to take a look at that because of what's going on here. And let me just close this here. Okay. So very interesting stuff there, and thank you, Cindy, for that. Potomac River explosive test range scheduled for the week of April 12th to 16th. This is Cindy also sent me this. Potomac River explosive test range scheduled for the week of April 12th to 16th. What the hell is this? This was April 12th. This page provides daily information about the operations and scheduling of activities at the Potomac River Test Range and the Explosive Experimental Area, Pumpkin Neck. These facilities are used by our military to conduct munitions testing and should be avoided while testing is in progress. Click on any of the areas of interest to the right for additional information. Weapons testing, interesting. Don't forget that the National Guard was doing some exercises in chemical contaminants, so hold on a second here.
Hey, there were some planes flying up the Potomac, I believe. I saw in the last week or so, Monkey Works was talking about how they're looking for. They had a plane that was detecting either nuclear or like a dirty bomb or a biological. So I wonder if that has anything to do with that.
What kind of planes? Because the planes do fly up the Potomac from Reagan until they get past out of DC, and then they go off the Potomac.
Yeah, and that's a brown zone right there that he calls the senior service center or something like that with the Biden administration. But yeah, that the brown zone is a no-fly zone. I think it's over downtown.
Okay. By the way, that last meme was Kim Vitale. Thank you, Kim, from the Christopher Show on the lights, camera bullshit. That's exactly what we're experiencing. So back to the drop here. April showers. Do you believe in coincidences? So that's why I went to the DC water situation, because of the April showers. And then do we have a 2019 drop? No. Do we have a 2020?
Yes.
What can you tell me about these? Several.
They're all good. They're all good, really good, and they're not. I just take them on face value. 3961.
Well, we were just, we were just talking about the media, the Democrat Party and mainstream media. Susan Rice married to Ian Cameron of ABC News. Ben Rhodes and David Rhodes are brothers. Obama administration, CBS. Liz Sherwood, Ben Sherwood married, Obama administration, ABC. Tom Nides, Clinton administration, Virginia Mosley, CNN. Jay Carney, Obama. Claire Shipman, ABC News, married. Katie Hogan, Matthew Jaffe, married, ABC News, Obama administration. Valerie Jarrett, Laura Jarrett, mother-daughter, Obama administration, CNN. You can see how this works. Jim, these two married, Cuomo, Chris Cuomo, brothers, one big happy family. That's a very telling drop from 17. Missing 29 connections national, missing 98 connections local. Just what I was just talking about how this works, folks. Todd, which one were you sending me to?
Oh, I was actually going off of the numbers now. I'm seeing 878 and 879 is prominent on all of these.
Okay, cool. Let's go through these real quick on face value and then dig on those, okay?
Yep. Okay. Just fire away.
Okay, 3955, Twitter is unavailable. 3956, disease, cancer cures exist. What if cures already exist? What about the billions public, private, government provided to fund cure development? Sheep, these people are sick. And then it brings up, this was last year, folks, hydroxychloroquine plus, and this tweet is from a suspended account, right? and I don't know, it was Earth pupil status, but I was just talking about that, and here it is, 1 year delta. And by the way, I didn't know that was a Q post today. 3957, when does NDA expire regarding drudge sales to foreign entity? Okay. Drudge R sales to foreign entity. When Drudge can talk again after he sells. Think 2020 presidential election +1 removal blackout coming of pro POTUS accounts. When by any means necessary, all assets will be deployed this election. Sleepers Pro will shift position. Nay. Paul Ryan, Fox.
Yeah. You think they changed their position?
Yeah. Yeah.
During the election?
Unbelievable.
Being one of the first to call Biden the president.
Yep. Unbelievable. Fox. And I was warning you guys about Fox a long time before this, too. Information warfare. Absolutely. 3959, Wuhan Institute of Virology, geolocation. Okay. Unbeknownst to Harvard University, beginning in 2011, Lieber became strategic scientist at Wuhan University in Technology. Okay. China's 1,000 Talents Plan, 2012 to 2017. We've covered the 1,000 Talents Plan, where they've infiltrated all across the world into high tech. Okay. The 21 million cell phone accounts in China may suggest a high CCP virus death toll. We covered that. This virus ended POTUS's rallies, economic gains, unemployment gains, all his plans. Weaken prior to presidential election, delay U.S.-China trade negotiations. I just discussed that. China prefers Biden plus VP as president. Shelter his public appearances, his debates, vote by mail. We've covered all this. We've covered all this.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah.
Just a FYI from our producer, I wanted to share from Teresa Richardson. She said that our...
Cindy, could you come closer to the phone?
Sure. Teresa Richardson just shared that FB is being, well, I won't say the word she used, but anyway, every person that she shared your show with tonight, it now says attachment unavailable. So Christy suggested that I mention this to you while you're live to try and share that out again to the public.
Okay.
It's going out.
Yeah, guys, please try to share that out again. If you shared it on Facebook, please share that out again. This is important information that needed to get out tonight. So Occam's razor simply states that at any given set of explanations for an event occurring, the simplest one is most likely the correct one. The simplest explanation for all of this is to take back control of the presidency. Okay? Some leaks destroy the MSM narrative. Who benefits the most? Okay? Tom Fitton is crushing the narrative, right? With his Freedom of Information Act requests regarding all this. This was April 14, 2020. He's a real patriot. And then pain and panic. You're witnessing the systematic destruction of the old guard. When by any means necessary, all assets will be deployed. This election symbolism, all informed, awake public holds all the keys. This is Shiva, which is the deity of Hinduism. Okay, and also it's linked to the Dr. Tedros, who is the head of the WHO, they've supported the overseas training of more than 2,000 Chinese health workers grateful for China's commitment to strengthening health systems in other countries through its Belt and Road Initiative. See, Tedros and these people are supporting the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative. But the reason why that they are meeting here, and they are meeting at this this is Shiva, okay? This is the god of destruction, okay? This is why 17 also put this up, so that this is the god of destruction. It's renewal through destruction, okay? i.e. the genocide, okay, of 6.5 billion people to get to the level spoken about, written about in the Georgia Guidestones, okay, for the perfect amount of humans on the planet being 500 million, okay? So that's the last delta, okay? And
Hey, Dave.
Yeah, Todd.
Yeah, 3961. I think it's important to note the picture. It's the Nixwick. Nothing can stop what's coming.
Yeah.
The next piece is called "Nothing Can Stop What's Coming," and President Trump has had the comment, "Who knows what this means, but it sounds good to me," and that was a Scavino post.
Yeah.
So you can see how they're playing their games right there. They know what's coming.
Yeah.
And then you go from that to 879, Dave. Wow. These are real brief.
Right. 879. And what other ones do you want me to go to, bud?
878.
878 and 879.
Yep.
Now, folks, the reason we went there is because these keep popping up in the blue. 879, 879, 879, and then down at the bottom was 878. 878, do you trust Sessions? Boom. And by the way, Todd, it says, do you, and then trust Sessions in uppercase.
Yes.
Caps, meaning trust Sessions.
And we all know that if you punch in trust Sessions, it'll come up, and we're supposed to trust Sessions, I believe.
Yeah. And then 879, set the stage, POTUS. Do you believe? Buckle up. And by the way, what does a maestro, what does a violinist, they're on a stage, and nothing can stop what's coming. That is a reference to, as Todd brought up, the voting watchdogs for the government.
Yep.
So this is how they caught him, because they caught him in real time with the voting irregularities. And I also, Todd, I wanted to go to what did I want to go to just now?
I thought with the April showers, maybe on 1146, that I think 1041 and 555 would probably be relevant.
1041.
1041 and 555.
Excuse me, 555, we've been too many times. January 19, 2018, we are with you. And then 1041, New York Times, QAnon Trump conspiracy theory. Here we go. That was April 6, 2018, kind of the beginning of the disinformation campaign to try to convince the population that 17 was not a real movement. 17 was not a real intel. Would you believe they called the White House for comment prior to publishing? And then Fox News, disturbing string aircraft crashes in 2018 continues deadly string trend for U.S. military. Todd, we also there's a drop about military aircraft
Right, the helicopters, and then the F-16. I believe there was an F-16 not too long ago up in Michigan, and
Yeah.
back during this time, wasn't there also like wasn't it 1O planes that crashed, like the Blue or one of those?
Dude, you're starting to break up now again.
Well, it's more late.
Yeah, I think Christy's jamming our signal to try to get me off the broadcast here. All right, man. Hey, great stuff on those drops and the links to them, brother. Thank you.
Good stuff. Check out Pump and
check out Pompeo.
Scavino. Pompeo today. Scavino still had from yesterday.
Okay. So Pompeo today and Scavino from yesterday. Check out the tweets, and then do the timestamps into the Q drops.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, brother. Love you, man.
Guys.
Thanks, Cindy. Good night, guys.
You. Not been right, guys. Hold the line.
Hold the line. Hold the line.
That's right.
All right. Good night.
Love you. Love you, Dave.
Love you too. Bye-bye. Thanks. All right, folks. Sorry about the sound problems there at the end, but I'm glad we made it through that part anyway. So here we go, folks. Thank you for being here this evening. I thought we had some great stuff drop. I want to thank Todd and Cindy. Obviously, I want to thank Stephanie and Rachel for coming on and sharing their stories, folks. They're sharing their personal stories because they feel confident with the Snedheads and with our audience, and also that they want to share that because they want to empower others with their health and their wealth. Just a quick note on before our prayer, the IndoctriNATION.com. Obviously, you can go shop and get the gear, folks. The hat, they've got blue, red, and black, which are awesome. The new gray sweatshirt is fantastic. My God, it's so comfortable. I can't take these things off now. I won't wear any other clothing. But I want to bring you to the 12-week Dream Builder journey with certified Dream Builder coach Amy Wazorek. AmazingLifeForAll.com. AmazingLifeForAll.com. 2 classes starting, and I believe she's going to start next Wednesday rather than this Wednesday. So here's what I want to tell you. Please go and sign up. And here's what you can do. You can schedule a complimentary strategy session. Folks, I'm telling you, this is free. Like, you're going to get an hour free with this woman who is so phenomenal. I decided to spend my life with her. Okay. And she is an amazing coach, and she has coached major corporations, Kaiser Permanente, big organizations. She's on, she works with 3 different companies that hire her to go and communicate and help people do presentations and work on their ability to manifest things in their life. And you can literally click on this and you can schedule a free session with her and find out what this is all about. And that's free. It's one-on-one, folks. So, please check that out, and you'll have a week to do so and then decide if you want to join. There's no obligation, by the way, no obligation whatsoever. This is because she is a part of the solution. Okay. This is somebody who is saying, I want to be a part of the solution, and I want to help Dave's audience find their own solution by finding what's inside of them that is dying to get out. Okay. And helping you build your dreams. And this is the kind of thing that we got to start thinking about. We got to get away from looking at all the negative bullshit that we're seeing every single day. That's why we do so much with the 17 drops, because we know that 17 drops brings us promise, brings us hope, brings us real hope, not hopium, but real hope, because we know what's going on. So we were up to about 1,600 tonight. We're now down to about 900, a little over 2,000. I'm sorry, 1,100. So over 5 platforms, and this is the worst audience I've ever had from a standpoint of numbers. Obviously, the best audience, because you guys won't just sit and wait for it to come up on Facebook. You seek me out. You find this Truthcast, and my hat is off to you for that. And I thank you. And let's pray. Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us together tonight. Thank you for our guests. Thank you for the awareness. Thank you for this the burning desire to seek the truth and find and share the truth as best we can with humanity, because we are in a spiritual war, and we are well aware of that. And we are up against a very, very evil cabal and a satanic element that has been in control of this planet for a very long time. And we ask you, Lord, for the strength to continue this fight. I thank you for watching over my father and my brother going through some health issues, and myself right now. And I ask you to reach out. And I saw Kathy's birthday. Bless her on this day. I want to also reach out and with Lynn's grandson and her uncle, and who passed, and her grandson who is going through some difficult times right now. And just all the Snedheads who are having difficulty right now. God bless you all, and please watch over them and help them through this period of time in our human history. Thank you for all that you provide for us, and strengthen all those soldiers and all those boots on the ground that are making things happen. Thank you, Lord. Thy will be done. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen. All right, Sneds, I love you all. Thanks for hanging tonight. Thanks for finding me with all this, Facebook, crap going on, and sharing this out. I really appreciate you. And I will see you Thursday night. If something major happens tomorrow night, I will come on, so keep an eye out for that. But I think we'll probably be fine till Thursday. And almost forgot to say, I'm going to be on Kirsten W's channel tomorrow, Wednesday, and it is, and I'll drop the link for that. But if you don't find me on her main channel, it'll be on CW Connect on YouTube. CW Connect. Let me see if I can find that. And she does the news like we do. And so sometimes, her guests don't talk as much as you might expect them to, but she's also covering the news and doing a pretty phenomenal job with that. She's also got some great people on there. You can see it right here. I'm going to drop it in the, here's our last show. So if we're not on Kirsten W, look for CW Connect, okay? And also, and here you have a bunch of videos. She has Bishop Larry Gators, Headline News with Dave Snedeker. That was last week. And I'm going to drop in the chat here the link for that, okay? And all right, Snedheads, love you. Have a good night. Be well. Take care.